Well, hi again, everybody. The high school football season for the Robert E. Lee Red Raiders. 2 regular season weeks to go, including a home game. The final home game coming up this Friday night at Trinity Mother Francis Rowe Stadium against the Longview Lobos. It will be the final home game for these seniors and an opportunity for those kids to go out as winners and obviously to say thank you for their time spent at Robert E. Lee. Coach Darrell Piske is with us after Mesquite, a very good football team, beat you on Friday night 51-9. You knew going in they were good, and they were a very good football team.
Yeah, they've got, offensively they've got a lot of skill guys. Quarterback special. I mean, he can run it and throw it, and, that was obvious. Defensively, they get after it and play good defense. But, first half we played a good football game and stayed in the hunt 22-9. Lumi kicked the field goal right there before half and was in the hunt. And, that's just you got to be able to do that for 4 quarters, not just 2 quarters. And so, the second half we came out and, they got the ball. We stopped them. They tried a fake punt and
Stop that.
Deontay Walker stuffed that. We get the ball back. They stop us. That's fine. We're going to punt it and pin them deep. And had a little miscommunication. And somebody thought it was another fake punt. We'd faked one earlier, but they get the ball and go score there. And then I think we get the ball next down deep in our own territory and have a fumble there, and they go in from there, and it was pretty much over from there.
It was like the air just kind of went out of the kids at that point, didn't it?
Yes, sir. I mean, that's what we felt on the sidelines, and you feel, and it's the frustrating part is when you're pulling your hair out because you can't do anything about it, and just trying to get them to just fight and compete and battle and do things like that. Is what you're looking for in that situation.
Isn't that the biggest thing you've got to overcome right now is to make sure that whatever happens, that you get 48 minutes of hard football out of these guys.
Yeah, and that's just a lot of that is just learning to compete with myself. And that's some of the things that we've talked about before, and we'll be doing through the off season is just teaching these kids about just competing with myself and. You don't worry about the people around you, don't worry about anything else, you just compete with yourself to do as good as you can do on every play and, never give up and fight till the end kind of attitude. And then, we'll be able to start turning those kind of games when something negative happens. It doesn't mean it's over, it just means we continue to battle, forget that play, go to the next play, and then we'll start seeing, winning games at the end of the game, those games and things like that.
Let's talk about the first half because, again, Mesquite jumped out to a little bit of a lead, but your guys really fought. There was the fake punt that worked for you, and then Marcus White's touchdown. There were a lot of good things that happened, especially in the second quarter.
Yeah, they, early they, just the speed and their quickness and their D line uses their hands well, and those 2 linebackers feel really well. And of course, the secondary plays the run and pass extremely well. It took us a little bit to get the speed of the game going, but once we got it and the O-line got a little confidence that they could block them and do that kind of thing, and then we started moving the football and had some success running the ball, and then threw a little bit on first down bootleg. I know Christian Diasato did a good job finding an open receiver on the bootleg a couple of times to keep drive alive, and then of course Marcus on that fake punt. It was executed. You watched the film on Saturday, and they blocked it well and executed it like you practiced it all week.
You defensively, of your 4 linebackers Friday night, 3 of them were sophomores. How'd they do? Yeah,
there's some young ones out there. They did a pretty good job. You look on film and talking about the inside guys mainly, there's just a slight hesitation, and at this level that slight hesitation means you're blocked. And so you watch on film and they would hesitate just slightly, not sure or not confident in what they're seeing. And then that would give the O-line guy time to zone up and get a body on them. But other than that, they did good. They're aggressive. They'll hit you. I mean, that's a good thing. And so now it's just a matter of spending some time in the weight room, get some strength on them, and give them something where they can hit with.
Well, let's talk about this. Let's mention these kids on the air. You started Roderick Gaines again. Brandon Durman got his first start, and Ted Matlock. I'm not sure it was his first start.
Teddy's kind of been off and on.
He's been playing quite a bit.
Yeah, he's been getting a lot of playing time and doing that. And Teddy's getting better and better. That's what talk about when we evaluate the film on Saturday. Looking at those young guys, Teddy, for example, he'd make a really good play, and then he'd make a not so good play, and then by the end of the game, he actually outnumbered his good plays over his not so good plays. So that's a good sign, and they're just going to get better, better and better, and getting them against good competition, that's going to help them next year.
He played quarterback for you in the spring football game, so that just tells you can move. If a kid's athletic enough, you can find a spot.
Yeah, and that's what we got to get in our younger kids' mentality. Some of them get in that mindset that they're just an offensive player, just a defensive player, and they don't understand that things happen in the season, and if you're adapted to playing on both sides, and somebody can move you over there, and you could help the team out in that situation.
Yeah, that's good, and get you on the field too, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I'm not very smart, but it increases my odds if I can play multiple positions that I'll have a chance to get on the football field.
All right, tell me about Raleigh Poster. His condition Friday night, he didn't get to play, and I know he was banged up. Why he didn't play, and how did Christian Diosado play for you?
Well, Riley, didn't get to practice the full practice all week, but I think his ankle's fine. He's healed. Him and Christian, they're going to be battling and battling for next year. And Riley's had a lot of game time. Once we got into the flow of the game, we'd planned on playing both of them. But at the point in the game, Christian hadn't done anything to warrant being yanked out of a football game, and so. We thought it was in the best interest to see where they are game-wise. You can't tell in practice, but let them both go out there. And like I say, Riley's played in every football game, and so let Christian finish that game and see how he did against great competition. And thought he did a good job of finding an open receiver. Sometimes they get locked into, I'm going to throw to this guy before the plays even began, and they've got to get to where they go through their progressions and learn to read stuff. Under the gun with the heat coming at them and stuff like that, and Christian did a good job of it. And
running backs, you did have a little bit of a running game the other night. Marcus White ran for like 75 yards. He continues to run hard. Whatever he's got, you're going to get, right?
Yeah, Marcus does. That's what you like about Marcus. He's just a football player. He's going to give. He's not the biggest and fastest and all that kind of stuff, but he's going to hit the crease and go and just give you all he's got, and he's hard to tackle, and I guess sometimes he gets lost in those big bodies, and then he'll shoot out the other side, but he does a good job. LaTerrence ran the ball hard also.
Let's talk about your kickers, too. I guess we might as well talk about Lumi Kaba. He, right before halftime, hit a field goal. I think it was a 38-yarder maybe.
Yeah, it was 38 yards.
That could have gone in from 68 with the wind at his back.
Yeah, he's, Lumi's got a good leg, does a good job. We, extra point earlier, our right side got a little tight, which gave them a short edge, and they blocked our extra points. So if those guys do a good job and we get the snap and the hold, Lumi's going to make probably 99% of them. So he's a good weapon to have. Wish we could kick more field goals with him, but he's pretty solid.
When he'll get a chance to play for somebody next year, won't he?
He should. Really, he's unbelievable. He's the best I've seen in person after 28 years of it, and I've had some decent kickers, but he's got a great leg and a good kid and work hard. Somebody's going to be smart enough to jump on him. They the big schools, they kind of hold off on that stuff for the kickers, and normally they have them a kid that's maybe going to be a junior that has been there and earned his way up, and when the senior graduates, they drop their scholarship down to him. But somebody will give Lumi a chance, and he'll be successful. We'll see Lumi in the future kicking somewhere.
And again, 2 more games left, including a final home game. This is an opportunity for your guys Friday night to do something really special at home, especially your seniors, to go out against a good Longview football team. You'll be an underdog, but still, it's not out of the question. It can happen.
No, that's what we talked about before last Friday night's game. There's people upset every week in football at every level, high school, pros, college, all of them. And so it's just, you got to get it in your mind and believe in yourself. And that's what we do on the weekends as coaches. We spend all weekend finding a way to where we think we can have success and win. And then, you got to be able to go out there and just battle through it. The hardest part's when something bad goes wrong to still believe in yourself, and that's what we're lacking right now with the guys. Is once something goes wrong, not the here we go again mentality, but just to continue to battle and desire to win and fight to win. All
right, Coach Piske as always brings along some game video. Friday night, the Red Raiders played state-ranked Mesquite at E.H. Hanby Stadium. Again, the ball game, week number 8 for Robert E. Lee. And let's roll the tape and take a look at some of the action from that ball game. Again, the final score was 51-9. At Hanby, you're in the white uniforms here, Coach. And you're on offense first.
Yeah, we're on offense and getting some highlights early. That's Chris Manuel, fullback. Actually had his biggest game the other night on carrying the football.
Yeah, how about that?
He
did good.
He really did. He hit the hole hard, and well, that's good for him. I mean, he shows up every day in battles and tries to get better. That's just a base pop play there. And
I interviewed him on the pregame show, our radio pregame show, and I was kidding around. I said, this had to be that interview that we did. It's what inspired him.
Well, you need to talk to him again this week. So.
Okay. All right, here you are on defense.
That's Amir Wilson, doing a good job containing him, staying upfield shoulder, and then, of course, all his buddies coming to help. Probably the tight view, the same thing.
Now, Amir is an underclassman too, right?
Yeah, he's a junior. But with that guy, you got to make sure you stay on that upfield shoulder and don't give him the edge. We did that a few times, and he got the edge, and when he gets the edge, he's pretty good.
So that sack, that was a loss of about 19 yards on that play, back on offense.
I think it's a little bootleg pass here, and, Christian goes through his progression, got the guy in the flat covering the short route, so he goes to number 2 receiver, which is Jay Robertson.
Here's the same play again, right?
Yeah.
Tighter angle.
Yeah.
I do what I've got to hand it to Jay. He's had this has been, his dad, of course, is your offensive coordinator. He left Fairfield before his senior year to come to Robert E. Lee, so kudos to the young man, the way he's handled himself.
Yeah,
right?
And he's a good kid, and really he and I were talking after the game. A couple of years ago, Jay couldn't catch a cold, and really we couldn't use him on offense at Fairfield. He was kind of mad at me at that time, but he just works his tail off
right.
and works to improve, and wherever the team needs him, and that's Desmond Dunn there, another young kid, an underclassman. But the O-line's got to be doing something if we've got holes like that, and so they did a good job the other night, for the most part, on getting the body on the body and knowing who to go to.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fake punt on that drive right before we scored. Marcus, they block it off the edge and seal it. Marcus hits the edge and uses those big long strides he's got.
Yeah. But the great thing about it, and again, here it is again, a little tighter angle. You finished the drive too.
Yeah, that's right.
And we'll see that here in just a moment.
Got a touchdown out of it. But you work that stuff all the time. You just you got to be able to carry it out there on Friday and execute it. And the kids did a good job there.
So you got good field position. They're up like 22-0 at this point too.
14.
Right? 14 now. Okay.
Yeah, it's Chris Emanuel again. If you can get 5, 7 yards of play, mathematically, that's pretty good, I think.
That is, that's good. When you only need 10 and 3
That's
plays,
right.
you can make that work.
Because if you ball control, then you keep it out of their offensive hands. And, we saw what they can do explosive-wise when they have the football. So that's big for us. Be the same way this week against Longview.
And obviously Mesquite had scouted your tailbacks all week, and that's what they expected to see, right?
Yeah. Here again, they jumped underneath route, and Christian does a good job of putting a catchable ball into space there, and Jay goes and makes a good catch for another first down.
He wound up with 4 catches on the night. But he's handled this transition very well. I mean, you forget sometimes that it's, the coaches move for a job, but the kids have to come along too.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's the hardest part, in coaching is your family. I did the same thing to my middle son, moved to Fairfield his senior year, and so
here's Marcus's
Marcus,
touchdown.
Good cut. Marcus got good vision, runs hard. He just gives you all he has.
Who opened the hole up here for him?
Well, you look over there, that's Matthew Weeks down blocking over there, and probably Hager was on that side.
Mm-hmm.
Did a good job of sealing off the down lineman. That's Teddy right there making the play. Did a good job fighting off the defender. Their receivers are pretty good blockers. Teddy made a great play on the little swing route. One thing we got to improve on is our physicalness out of our receivers on the blocking on the edge and doing that kind of thing.
Here you are back on offense. He actually outscored him in the second quarter.
That's Marcus right there. You see the tight view. That's just a pop, quick hit and play to the fullback. Line does a good job of coming off, getting the body on the body.
same drive.
Yep. Chris Manuel again. He was probably tired after that game.
When I was talking to him last week, he moved from defense. I think he played defense last year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a heck of a transition.
And he's gotten better and better at his blocking, you know, learning how to bring his feet when he makes contact and doing that kind of thing.
Here's the field goal. This is the last play of the second quarter.
Right before half went in, got a little momentum, got a score. Big thing on that drive is we wanted to get points, but we didn't want to give them the football back just because they've got the skilled kids that can go to the house at any time.
Now, you may not see this on the video, but that ball traveled all the way to the back part of the track.
He's got a leg. I know in pregame he always kind of works his way back and gets a feel for the direction we're going of what his max distance is, and I think he was at 62, and he kept kicking that 62-yarder till he made it. That's Teddy again, Matlock. Making a good play in the open field.
One of the sophomores who started.
But he reads what he's supposed to read and does what he's supposed to do. Number one, two goes away, looks to number one, and sees the little tunnel coming back underneath.
Now, this was the first drive of the third quarter, and they're about to try a fake punt here.
Yeah, Deontay Walker plays it well and stuffs him. And what he does well is you know, he brings his feet when he makes contact right there and brings his feet and doesn't let the momentum. We've got to get out of the habit, and a lot of it's going to come just from weight room time, but a lot of times we tackle guys and they go forward, and you got to get the strength and leverage and bring your feet and get those piles where they start going the right direction. He does a good job here getting underneath the block and then bringing his feet and stuffing them there is a big play for us. I think that's Keith Anderson. Sent it from a distance, and Edom coming from inside out.
Anderson's one of your defensive ends.
Yes,
he's a junior too, is he not?
No, Keith's a senior.
Keith's a senior?
Adam's a junior.
Okay.
Edom Rose, tween nose guard and defensive end. That's Teddy again off the edge out there playing pretty well. And I think it's Keith Anderson also involved in this. Keith does a good job recognizing, using his hands. That's Keith and Teddy. That's a good play. I think that's Edom. I watched these yesterday to try to. Yeah, it's Edom right there, number 29. Quick, strong.
Not terribly big, but he's pretty fast.
He's thick. He's just not. That's Diosado. You know, that's the same play we ran a couple times before and threw it to the second level guy. But this time Christian, you know, goes through his progression. The first level guy's open, so he gets the ball to him quick and gives him time to run. Sometimes those guys hold that ball till he gets outside the numbers, and then he doesn't have any room to cut up, so he did a good job of recognizing it and getting it to him quick. I'm thinking that's done. I'll have to see the tight view. Yeah, it's
a good run.
That's Chris Emmanuel again. You know, of course, you look, and Ian Chase got his guy pinned there and did a good job. And sometimes we had some really big holes. Sometimes we were just a hair off on the timing of the backs hitting the hole or one guy sliding off. That's Christian again, making a good read on the seam route, throwing it to Jay. It's a big first down there. O-line did, you know, for the most part, did a great job on pass protection. You know, in this league, if you got time, you're going to find open guys.
Yeah. Well, and the game ended not the way Robert Lee wanted, but there were points in that ball game where you were very competitive. How good can Mesquite be? Do you think they can contend for a state championship?
Yeah, they're pretty good. Their O-line's not huge, but they battle and come off and block, and they play with an attitude. When you got that many skill guys that can go, I mean, you're going to have a chance in any game. And of course, their defense is pretty dang good. So that'll give you a chance when you got great defense and really good skill kids. That'll give you a chance to make a good run, and I think they'll have an opportunity. I think they may get Allen third round or something like that.
Yeah.
I hadn't looked that far down the road, but that'll be the big challenge for them.
Of the 4 district games you played so far, who's been the most impressive team you've seen so far in the district?
Well,
there's some pretty
really
good ones.
Mesquite overall. Horn did a really good job scheme offensively, and they got some big bodies up front, and of course that quarterback they have can run it and throw it. Rockwell's got that Warren kid that's going to keep them in football games because he almost guarantees you 5 yards every time you hand it to him.
And they're kind of young too, aren't they?
Yeah, they're pretty young. They had a freshman DN, that sophomore running back, and of course that sophomore receiver that would come in and play Wildcat. But probably overall, Mesquite's been the best so far. I know Longview, watching them on film all weekend, gives you nightmares because they're going to be pretty solid offensively and defensively. So it'll be kind of like last Friday night. I mean, they're pretty even with Mesquite. I think when they played Mesquite, they turned it over 9 times and then had 2. Really, a total about 12 turnovers, I think, when you go through and you figure the not fielding a pooch kick, and had 2 punts blocked and stuff like that. So then they turned it over 9 times on top of that and got beat 33-14. So Longview's pretty tough football team. Can't overlook the fact that they've played some good folks and had some losses, and they think, well, they're not as good as they usually are because they've got X number of losses, but they're still Longview when you watch them on film. They're pretty good. Yeah,
they lost their quarterback, Bivens Caraway, early in the year. They've used 2 young men, a kid named Dunn, a kid named Chumley.
Yeah.
And they kind of interchangeable, I think.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And they do a good job with what they do. Longview's going to run the football, losing Caraway, who's a good kid, and, changed them offensively, but they're still Longview. They've got some big bodies up front to block that are athletic, and they've got backs that hit the hole like a scalded dog, and then, of course, they've got some receivers outside that can stretch you and beat you if you don't stay locked up on them. And defensively, they're just the Longview I've seen for my whole life that I've known Longview football is they got big bodies up front that are athletic and can run. They got linebackers that are very thick and very fast, and when they arrive to the pile with an attitude, and of course their secondary just unbelievably fast on breaking on the football.
They've kind of resisted the temptation over the years, had they not, to go to the spread that so many teams are doing, and that's kind of the way you want to play too, isn't it?
Yeah, if I had the guys to do it, I wouldn't mind spreading it out a little bit and slinging it around, doing all that kind of stuff, and we'll get to where we can do more of that, after, some off season and springtime doing some stuff, but yeah, that smash mouth football, I mean, there's something to be said for it, the SEC type football where they're just going to play great defense and they're going to run the ball and hit you with play action, and Coach King and those guys, they've got that system built in, and they've been doing it for a long time, and it takes a lot of things out of the equation when you're just going to line up and hit people in the mouth for 4 quarters on both sides, and it wins a lot of football games.
All right, let's talk a little bit about also, these last 2 weeks, what it would mean to get a win, even if just to get a win, or even if you don't, just to be in those ball games, and what it would mean going forward.
To take that first half we had the other night and make it 4 quarters, and really any time you go in a football game, I mean, you can look at things and be honest and figure things out, but if you go out there and you just play your best football game and you get beat, you can live with that. It's when you don't play your best football for 4 quarters, or you don't battle for 4 quarters, those kind of things frustrate you and irritate you, and that's what you want to accomplish, is just go out there every play and give it all you got and execute to the best of your ability, and then the results take care of themselves. You'll win some games you're not supposed to win, and that kind of thing.
I know you get frustrated for these seniors, not with them necessarily as much as for them, because they've had 3 coaches in 3 years. They seem like they want to be there, but there's just something that's kind of been a block for them, hasn't it?
Yeah, and really you got to applaud the guys that those guys that stuck with it out there, and they show up every day, and they got great attitudes in practice, and they give you all they have, and things of that nature, and those guys, that's what I was telling them, Saturday before last, is we've had some guys as coaches through our careers that maybe weren't great football players, but you just loved them and you knew they was going to be a success in life just because of their attitude about life and attitude about practice, and these guys are like that. They show up. We had to hold Bryce out the other night because of the Rockwall game, and Bryce handled it with class. He showed up every day, he worked hard, he was there, you know, supporting his teammates on Friday, and excited about the opportunity to come back today and get to work and get ready for, you know, his last 2 games as a senior playing against, you know, Longview and Heath. So, you know, you appreciate it as a coach, those guys that just show up every day. It does dishearten and frustrate you as a coach because, you know, there's no potion to pour on them, and all of a sudden they're winning football games, and it takes work and effort and time, and you feel sorry for those guys and sympathize with them. But again, you appreciate their efforts, and you just really, it means something to you to see the guys show up every day and just keep competing, because you know they're going to be fine in life.
How do you, I know it's been frustrating for you and your coaches this year. How do you maintain that enthusiasm week in and week out? For the kids? Is it mainly for the guys?
Well, really, it's what we're supposed to do. I mean, we're supposed to be setting an example for them and teaching them how to handle adversity. And anybody can handle the good times. You know, when I guess in '04 when they won it all, everybody was probably pretty happy that year. It's these years where you learn some lessons about life, and you know, it's our job as coaches to set the example for them of how to come out every day with a smile on your face, and you know, the humility you learn, you know, through getting your lungs kicked in on Friday nights is a pretty big lesson in life. That we're not, none of us are above defeat. We're going to get defeated in life, and we just got to show up every day and do the best we can and figure out what we need to fix, and then just work steadfastly on getting that done. And that's, you know, that's what coaches have to do. It's frustrating and hard, but it's part of life.
What's it going to take to beat Longview this week?
Well, we're going to, number one, have to control the ball offensively, because they're, you know, their backs, they've got the speed. You know, they can go the distance at any time. Their O-line is big, athletic, so they're going to get a body on a body, and we're going to have to tackle extremely well and hang on. Offensively, we're going to have to control the clock and finish the drives. You know, not have a mistake when we get down there that backs us up and things of that nature, and turn the ball over. We can't do that. And really just play with our hearts for 4 quarters, and not just, you know, when something goes bad, just overlook it, because they're going to have some big plays. I mean, you can watch the film. They've had them against everybody they've played, and they've played some really good people. It's just going to be a matter of staying with it and believing and fighting for 4 quarters, and that'll give us a chance.
Plus, it's the final home game for these seniors, so that makes it special too.
Yeah, you know, they're going to be senior night and represent those guys, and you know, what they've done and the work and effort they've put in, because, you know, winning or losing, those guys have put in a lot of work and a lot of effort. And so, you know, we're going to recognize them Friday night and appreciate all that they've done, and you know, help them go out in the last 2 games and just, you know, playing their hearts out. And that's what we talked about last week in pregame is, you know, let's play these last 3 games for these seniors that stuck with us and got after it, and play your hearts out and think about them when you get tired or you don't want to do something. You know, they've been fighting for 4 years.
All right, Coach, good luck.
Thank you.
The Red Raiders and the Longview Lobos coming up Friday night. It is a 7:30 kickoff. It is senior night. It'll be the final home game of the year. The Red Raiders deserve and need your support for these seniors as they look to beat the Longview Lobos and get that victory in the district as we move forward in the 2012 season. For Coach Piske and the Red Raiders, I'm Bill Coates. Thanks for joining us.